Hi, it's Mr. Kane here, and we're going to talk to you about some blood, your blood. We've all got it, that red stuff that leaks out of us from time to time when we hurt ourselves, make a hole in ourselves, and some people have actually quite a bit of trouble of seeing blood, especially their own. So actually what is it? What's in there? What's special about it? So let's take a journey through what's in the blood. Here we've got four things that are labelled here on this diagram. There are four of the main things that we find in blood. So what have we got? We've got red blood cells. So that gives the blood its red colour. It comes from these cells. We've also got white blood cells. They're hidden by the red ones. This thing called platelets. And then there's the fluid part of the blood, the plasma in there. So let's find out some more about each of these things. So, what's in it? Hormones are in there racing around the body, being transported around, giving chemical messages to places. What else we got? Red blood cells, of course. White blood cells, we've met those before. Platelets. Plasma. But what else is in there? Oxygen. Carbon dioxide gets carried around in the blood as well. The red blood cells do that. Digested food. So it's come through your digestive system, gone into the bloodstream, and it's carrying it around to your body. I think there's every cell in your body is no more than like one cell away from a blood vessel of some type or other. And of course there's waste to get rid of as well. So waste products gets filtered out by the kidneys and away it goes. So the main part of blood is the red blood cells. They're the really important ones, the most common ones, and give the blood its red colour. And a fancy description of it, a biconcave disc, round and flat, without a nucleus. So it's concave, it's puckered in on both sides there, so underneath as well. Here in New Zealand you might have either sometimes eaten a lolly known as a wine gum. They're a bit like sort of a wine gum kind of shape, a dimple on both sides. They contain this stuff called hemoglobin. Okay, now it's a protein. It's made of four parts. They all click together and contains iron. That gives it the red colour, and it's very good at picking up and holding oxygen and carrying it to where it's needed. And then it gets rid of the oxygen, and it will pick up and carry out carbon dioxide. Very good at picking up both of those molecules and carrying them to where they're needed to be used or got rid of. So that's what hemoglobin is for, and that's what's packed inside red blood cells and gives blood the red colour. Now these guys can change shape because they've got to squeeze through all sorts of tiny spaces through the tiny capillaries that take blood to pretty much every single cell in your body. Now in the middle of the page here, that is sort of a cartoon type version. This is actually a picture of real red blood cells, and as you can see they meet the description nicely. We've also got white blood cells, and quite a few different types of white blood cells. They've all got a big nucleus inside them. It's this that thing there, the big nucleus. It's been stained so we can see it. So nucleus contains lots of genetic material, instructions for what they're going to do. And two main ones we're going to deal with: lymphocytes, macrophages. Okay, macrophages eat. Yeah, it's not really eating as like with a mouth, but the cell itself comes up against something, sort of wraps itself around it, and then sort of takes it into itself, sort of envelops it and absorbs it inside. And once it's inside, the chemicals inside the cell can digest whatever nasties that's in there. These are the guys that keep us healthy. So lymphocytes, they make the antibodies that destroy the diseases we get, the bacteria, the viruses that get in there. Okay, and there's also some that break down poisons, antitoxins that break down poisons. And there is an actual white blood cell. Platelets, it's these guys here. Now, broken off larger cells is a bit simple to say. We've got cells that we're all made of cells, and they're quite flexible beasts, and sometimes a small corner of them might sort of fold in and a bit comes off of the cell. That's, that's what platelets are, a little bubble of cell stuff, and they produce this stuff called fibrinogen, and when they hit the air, this stuff forms like a net of fibers, and it traps the red blood cells. So there's some fibrinogen fibers wrapped around a red blood cell, creating a net so it can't escape, and this forms the blood clot. So if you cut yourself and the blood seems to dry on the surface and form a scab on the surface, that's what's happening here. So you've got poked a hole in yourself, blood's leaked out, and it's formed a scab on the surface because the blood cells are being trapped in this net-like stuff over here so that they can't get away. And we now have a cork in the hole, stop us leaking out anymore, blood still flow, and this area here can now heal and repair itself. Okay, the plasma part. So here's a test tube. It's been centrifuged. That means it's been spun around really, really fast. So all the heavy stuff's gone to the bottom. The red blood cells have gone to the bottom. There's a little layer in here of the white blood cells and platelets, and the rest, it's a bit more than 50% of it is plasma, the liquid part of it, and it's really important as well. Not only just for carrying around red blood cells, but it transports all the stuff in the cells that are in the blood, but it has a heap of other stuff as well. So it also contains these things: carbon dioxide, glucose, amino acids, proteins, minerals, vitamins, hormones, and the waste stuff all travel in the plasma. Okay, so carbon dioxide travels in there, red blood cells carry the oxygen, the glucose that fuels our bodies dissolved in there, the amino acids that we use to build up our proteins that make us are transported in there, the minerals we need and the chemicals that we need are all in there, and the hormones, the chemical signals that switch certain things on and off inside us, all transported around in the plasma in the blood. And the waste stuff that gets filtered by the kidneys and things is also transported, dissolved in the plasma. And we can get blood transfusions of just plasma, build up the bulk of blood. If you've lost a lot of blood, they might give you plasma straight away, because plasma is quite useful to give. We can give that plasma to anybody. We have to be a bit more careful about what actual red blood cell types we give you, because we have to match them up, because there's 4 main blood types: A, type B, type AB, and O. This is connected to sort of the labels that the body puts on these cells, these little tags that are on there. So we've got type A antigens, type B antigens. Red blood cells, they have both A and B, and type O has none of them. So type O blood is quite useful. You can give it to a large variety of people as long as you match up the positive and negative factors. Okay, that's called rhesus factor, plus or minus. So I've got O negative blood, so my blood type O can be given to type A people, type B people, type AB people, as long as they're also negative. So it's quite useful to have that. Otherwise you have to match it carefully with what they have. So it's the blood types. So that's a heap of information about blood. I hope that's been quite useful to you, and I hope that you don't actually see a lot of your own blood in the near future, but if you do, you know what's inside it.